Good morning, Quasar Markets Live. It's Friday. Then comes Saturday, Sunday. We know what it's all about. Look, it's very simple. If you've been following us, you know that I have been talking about it for a long time. That in the last month, that the markets are overshot, and I know the last week that everybody's, oh no, the markets are going higher. The markets are going higher. The tune has changed on Wall Street, and now you're seeing everybody talk about, oh, Josh Brown says we are way over the skis. I mean, it's like everybody now has changed their tune all of a sudden. Why? Because the numbers there are. The whole system is starting to show its ugly head. This morning, I was looking at the markets, and I saw the 10-year now at almost 4%. It's dropped quite a bit over the last week. That means that money is flowing into the bonds. That means that the bond market is starting to settle down a bit, and people are flowing back into it. I say people, institutions. I don't think retail's caught up yet. I think we're going to go higher. You saw the AAII coming in this week. Investor survey at the all-time highest. I'm gonna pull up some charts here. I'm gonna show you some things that I have been keeping my eye on here, and this is the one thing that I think people have not been watching is jet fuel. I'm gonna be asked. I'll be on Schwab later today in the afternoon at 3:25. They're asking me about the airline industry, and you know that I have personally been talking about the airline industry. I'm not a big fan right now. I've pretty much shown you over channel checks that the market is definitely not working right well for business travel. Right, we know that business travel is roughly down about 25% in since COVID has not come back. Right. And that's a problem. And what is this chart? This is jet fuel. This is New York jet fuel. This is when you're looking to buy jet fuel. What did the airlines do over the last few years? They went hedging. They were buying up oil. And you can see right here back in 2023, when we saw 2022, oil and gas went sky high, and 425 there. Look at that for jet fuel per gallon. And we got down to 2023, May of 2023, as that became really rough on air traffic, right? And we're now seeing it with the government shutdown, with the economy, people losing their jobs. It's happening again. So for people who are thinking that the economy is great, channel check. It's not. You can see it right there. We are, you lower oil prices and gas prices when you have to. And here it is. Now, when I look at jet fuel, I had to look at a couple of things with jet fuel. You'll notice that there is New York jet fuel, and then there is Gulf Coast jet fuel. And then, of course, there's Buckeye. There's a lot of I can explain later. I'm not going to go today through all of it. You can buy LA jet fuel and all kinds of fun things. Gulf Coast jet fuel is different, as it's even cheaper. There's actually a spread between the different jet fuels. So a lot of times airlines will try to push through a certain city or a certain area and get that jet fuel because it's cheaper. And one of those is mostly the southern cities. You can see 2023, where even at $4, $4.20, something like that, I think it was in New York, it was $3.66 in the Gulf. So why? Because they don't have to push it as much, right? That's where the oil comes from. It's where the refineries are, the carry costs pushing the oil and gas. So we saw that Gulf Coast get down to 41 cents. Remember that back in 2020 during COVID when it went upside down and oil went negative? We're not ever going to see that again, I don't think. Let's hope not, at least. But at that time, before COVID really hit, 185 was where that was. You can see that's where that big line is there in 2021, and of course the jump there. And then over time, we have been in the balance all the way down. Probably get down to it again. If we see this, if you're looking at a technical side of this, 188 again. So that's what we're looking at again. I'm keeping my eye very tight on this. And why am I concerned? Because there's the forward curve. The forward curve says it'll be under $2 very soon. So if that's the case, look, then recession's coming. I mean, I don't know how to tell people this, right? If I look at a lot of things, and I know people are just like, oh, no, the world's fine. Everything's fine. We're going to go higher. The market just keeps going higher. I'm going to be honest with you. It doesn't. I'm going to pull it up here for you. There's your silver chart. Gold and silver doesn't go up because the economy is great. It's a hedge, right? There's your weekly chart on silver, and it looks like silver has gotten way out of whack here. So this afternoon, or this morning, I should say, yesterday afternoon, we saw the fall off, right? It went over to $51 an ounce and then bounced off. It got up to 51.28. I'll show the daily chart there this morning. It did it again overnight. Silver moved. I've never seen silver move like this before, right? It's unbelievable how fast silver is moving. Now, with it, we are seeing this is the seasonal time also. But look here. That's right. So roughly around the end of October is usually when it starts to fall off. So seasonally, silver doesn't always push up here. Okay, so be very careful there. I'm going to push up $1 yen. All these things I'm talking about, right? The dollar is pushing up. So if I go back to that weekly chart, there you go. What am I talking about? Well, it means the dollar is definitely pushing up against the yen, right? And that means that people are moving back in the dollars. They're getting out of they're getting out of their equities and moving money. They're moving it around to all kinds of things, right? I'm trying to get into the 10-year here for you guys. All right. And I'm going to pull up the, there we go. There we go. All right. So here's my normal screen, right? And what am I seeing? All right. There is West Texas Intermediate. So we talked about oil, jet fuel. Now WTI is under $60 a barrel. I said this several times. If we see oil get under 60, that is a very bad sign. That means the economy is not doing it great. All right. So people stop telling me that I'm wrong. I'm showing it to you. Now, Josh Brown told you. All right. Unfortunately, Jim Cramer is now talking about the economy changing now. But there it is, 4.094%. We are now seeing that. See this? Okay. So look, I'm not saying that this is the top. I don't ever do that, but I as you know, I've been selling and I've been moving money around. That money I've been moving around is coming out of in my case, tech. I've been very strong tech. Everybody knows how long I've been strong in tech, and I'm the one that called Palantir at $30. At 180, I don't like it, right? Why? Because here it is. You're seeing the Qs now, still touching. Can't try it. Try it again. It's coming down. This is the 1 minute chart, and I'm going to pull up a daily chart on. I'm going to pull up a daily chart on the Qs. I don't know if the screen's too small for you. Let me know. I know that my screens are small. This thing right here, put a big wick in. Okay. When the big wicks come in like that, it's usually also pretends to be a selling point. See it here? All right. I'm going to pull up another one. See that big wick there? Another day down the downside. Now I'm going to pull up a weekly chart. All right. This is what I'm seeing. All right. Top of this linear regression. And it usually the weekly does not get all the way up there, and it tests. So we've done that there, which was back in March. We did it back in July of last year. And neither one made it all the way to the top of that linear regression. Here we are, and it just can't get it. Nothing in this chart tells me that the market's going to go higher. There's no catalyst for it. And here's what I'm looking at. In the MACD on the weekly chart, if you love technicals, and I do too, I've been doing technicals for 35 years, this is not a good sign right there. All right, this means we're topping out. This means we're oh, it did top out. Oh, it did top out. Oh, it did top out. Same setup. So if you're in the technicals, that's what you're saying. You're saying you love your charts. You're gonna pearl grip your charts. Well, pearl grip it right now, because I don't think we're going too much higher. I think the markets are settling in. Now, I'm not just telling you, I'm creating a narrative. I'm showing you how I trade, how I make my decisions on the markets, and when I decide to get out. Because it's a narrative. It's not just technical. So if you're just trading based on charts, you're a rookie. All right. I'm not going to be mean to you. I'm not saying hard things, but to you, I'm wanting to make you a better trader. You need to understand the noise. You understand the news, the noise around it, right? Understand that a lot of times people are saying, oh, the world's great. You go on Twitter, oh, the world's great. Buy this meme stock and this crypto or whatever, right? Rug gets pulled out of you. Don't be that person. Be the ticker taker as I am, right? Make sure that you're paying attention. We talked about on this show, gold and silver going higher. Most of us watched me buy 19 silver here. You've watched Peter Thomas tell you about the gold market, right? He told you we're going higher, and it did. Look at that. I mean, this thing has been on a tear, and he told you that. You don't buy gold and silver when the world's great. You buy it when it's a hedge, a narrative. You're also adding to your narrative. You're adding to your thesis. The thesis here is, okay, well, if money it's got to go somewhere. It's got to go be protected. Where's it going to go? Well, the bond market, the percentages will continue to go up. Oh, it's not going to go up, go down because the Fed cut rates. Fed cut a rate. It didn't go down that much. It actually went up, remember? It goes down because the Fed doesn't need to doesn't need to raise the rates in order for it to attract investment. As money flows into the bond market, they can lower rates. They don't have to pay you as well. And that's what you've seen. So I want to pull up a weekly chart. There it is. It's telling you what the market's going to do. And let me tell you, bond traders are the smartest traders in the world. The New York Stock Exchange is roughly, $30 trillion in equity? The debt around the world is in the quadrillions. Dollars are in quadrillions. That's the biggest investors. That's the biggest traders out there. They're the ones who are actually moving markets and moving money around. Stock market is not heavy. Even with NVIDIA at $4 trillion, right? I mean, that's not, it sounds like a lot, but compare that to quadrillions, right? Out there. You're seeing it. WTI is still falling. Today is not a day to be long in the market. This market is over its skis. I've been talking this for a while. Job losses are coming in. Even Canada now has job losses. Yes, their growth, their employment growth top forecasts, but their numbers aren't good. The United States, even though we don't have government numbers, aren't good. I don't know what the government's telling you. I don't know why the traders aren't telling you that, right? The big investment money isn't telling you that. Jamie Dimon told you, expect a 30% pullback. I'm not even saying that. I said it live at Schwab Network last week, 12 to 17%. 10% is a good, healthy correction or pullback. 20% is a correction, somewhere in between. So I'm telling you all to be careful out there. I'm not telling you to pull your money out and go stick it in a mattress. I don't do that. And I'm not even doing that, right? But I am telling you to be careful. That this market is over its skis. The equity markets are not quite there. It's not holding up here. And so the question mark has to go, well, where do we go? All right. Well, we've talked about this, and Steve Flanagan told you this. 40-year trader at JP Morgan ran the currency desk at JP Morgan. He told you last week and this week, the dollar, the Dixie, is going higher. It's going to move higher as money moves back in the dollar. He kept telling you he's bullish on the dollar. He kept telling you he's bullish on the dollar. Well, look what's happened over the last week. From 96.38 to 99, almost 100. That's against the basket of the other currencies. He told you that. A narrative. We're creating a narrative, right? And we're backing it up with real facts. That's what Quasar Markets does. We don't just say, tell me what's being said on any of the channels, what's being said in Twitter. We have that too. I've got Google keywords. We know what keywords are happening. One of the keywords is, how do I protect my mortgage? You don't say, how do I protect my mortgage when the economy is good? You ask that question when you're trying to protect your mortgage, right? You ask that question when people are nervous and scared. And when those things start to go up, right? When the dollar goes up, because that's where they're hiding their money markets, right? These are the places you're going to find it, right? You're not going to find the answer to the economy in Nvidia stock price. It's sexy. I get it. Trying to trade. I get it. APLD. I'm watching it today. 29.29. Why? Because the AI narrative is still strong. I'm gonna pull up a 1 hour. I'm gonna pull a 3-minute chart up because we know that's what Wall Street uses, right? There's your whole AI talk again, right? All right. AMD. Yesterday, you watched me do it. What did I do yesterday? You might remember what I did yesterday? I shorted it, right? When it got up here, I was like, this is nutty. Shorted it. Why? I like AMD. I like Lisa Su. I like what she's doing. I like NVIDIA. I like Jensen Huang. These prices are out of control. People are going after stocks just to find alpha. They're stock picking. Right? That's not the narrative. It doesn't fit the narrative anymore. The narrative is changing. People are losing jobs. They can't find them. And so all of a sudden, now they got to know where to go. I've just showed you. Take a screenshot if you need. This is what most people on Wall Street are looking at. Now, I don't usually have gold and silver like this combined but there's a reason for that, because I own silver physical. I don't own paper on it. And I am watching the gold market because that does tell me a lot, right? The 4,000 handle that's a big, strong handle there. And it looks like $51 an ounce is also a very strong selling point too. All right. That's the technical analysis side of it. All right. So keep your eye on oil. If oil continues to fall, that's a problem, right? So this is starting to really bother me, and you can't blame it on the Saudis. Can't blame it on whatever they're doing. They're not pinning it. They need money too. They look there. It's their oil too, right? Under $60 a barrel, usually a lot of your oil companies don't like this because they can't make a lot of money on this, right? They have a hard time with that. So this is a big concern to me. If we get down to the 55 handle, start ringing the bell, because that means things are really getting bad. And I'll show you what I mean by that. I'll pull up a monthly chart of oil. Of course, there's where oil went negative on the back during COVID, and 125, 120, right in that 125, 126 area, that was too high. And I've said this on the air. I did it last week again to try to explain it. Oil companies don't like $125 a barrel. They just don't. It really throws things out of whack. It's fun for them for a little while, but it's not sustainable. They don't like it. And they sure as hell don't like it at $30 a barrel, right? They like it somewhere right in the middle, around $70 to $80 a barrel. Why? Because it's steady money. You can see here that steady money. That's where they like it, around 75. Right there's about where they like it. At 60, it starts to cost them. Their margins start to wane a bit. At 125, then they got to pump more oil, and then it becomes a whole back and forth. And then you see the Saudis starting to release more oil because they want more money, and it doesn't work out, and the markets are out of whack. People lose money. They don't want that. They want steady income going in all the time. Now, there is something bothering me here a little bit. Oil could turn around here at some point, but I don't like it, and I'm sure as heck not betting on oil turning around here yet, because there is still some room to the downside. And I've said this, $55, right there's about where I think it should hold. If it doesn't hold there, look out, Nelly. We're going the downside. All right. So I think you've got a pretty good narrative of what my thoughts are today. Good morning, Marilyn. I'll pull up. Hey, good morning. Good morning. Yep. I appreciate it. I'm kind of giving everybody a narrative this morning of what my thought process here, not just saying I hate the markets. I don't hate the markets. I love the markets probably more than you do. It's done very well over the last 30 years. But I am trying to show people exactly what my thought process here. I believe the same thing on the flip side of this. When the economy looked like it was really falling apart, and it was turning, and that narrative changed for me. But the narrative no longer. I don't like buying. Yes, I don't like buying stock when stocks are high. It's people ask me, well, see, give me the best advice about the market. Buy low, sell high. I don't know. Sell high, buy low. That's while that's a funny adage to say, and they've been saying it a very long time on the floor, it's true, right? You don't want to buy, you're looking for alpha for longer term. Is it buy high and sell higher? I remember the jokes about that all the time. I saw that all the time. Oh, buy high and sell higher. Yes, that's great. But the problem is right now that the market isn't sustainable right now. You're not seeing earnings growth in everything here. Now, if I pull up the cues again, look at this. It's really starting. You can see it here, happen here too. Now, when people look at sell-offs, now I think I've been saying this quite a bit. Like it's kind of like the Price is Right guy going up beside the mountaineer, right? Going up beside the mountain, then it falls off. Normally, it doesn't just fall off the cliff. It takes a few days, in this case, weeks, to have that real sell-off. Okay, so this didn't happen overnight. But by the time that most people realize it, it's too late, right? Even here, this last one in July of last year, and even in the big one, 22, when we had that big sell-off from 403 down to 265. Now, let me put this in perspective. This is the answer right here. In 2022, 2 years after COVID, we were literally sitting at 263. And AI was just starting to get big. We're now at 610. We have tripled, almost tripled in 2 years. A 3-year bull run is what we've had. This is 2020. And you can go back to 5-year bull run, but this is what they're mostly talking about, this bull run. Here it is in 2022. So this is the 3-year bull run. Now we know what Wall Street likes. What numbers Wall Street like? Everybody at the same time? They like it in threes. So here we go. We've had this run, and I pulled up linear regression. Again, it almost fits that narrative. There you go. And when it goes up this line, goes up that line, it usually falls off. That's just technical analysis. I've created a narrative for the thesis behind it. I've told you the news. The news isn't good. Job losses, lower travel numbers, blah, blah. I keep going, right? And showing you actual movement of institutional money. One of them is 10-year. One of them is going into metals. One of them is losing energy, pun intended, in oil. I'm not just telling you that charts dictate. I'm not only telling you that news dictates. I'm not telling you that money movement is dictating. I'm telling you all three of those things are lining up. The stars are lining up to tell you things aren't that great. So I don't care what anybody says, government, non-government. I don't care what your neighbor down the street says. I don't care what your broker is saying. Doesn't matter. I want to make you a better trader. I want you to understand the markets. I want you to make decisions based on better data. I want you to make decisions based on things around you as you learn how we do it as well, how traders do it that's been doing it a long time. And we want to make you a better person, a better trader, right? Why? The more money you make, the better lifestyle you have. The market is a business. It does not care about your feelings. It does not care who you are. It doesn't even care if it doesn't even like you or hate you. It's just there, right? And when you say, well, I made money in the market was good to Mr. Market was good to me. Okay. I say Mr. Market all the time because I think it's a funny adage, but it's not the truth. You're fighting against one thing. I want everybody to write this down. Put it on your wall somewhere. You are fighting against psychology. You're fighting against the psychology of traders who have been doing this 30, 40, 50 years. You're fighting psychology of people who are building high-frequency trading, algos. You're fighting the psychology of the person who can't pay their rent this week, so they're going to sell their stock. You're fighting against the psychology of billions of data points, of which we have those data points. You're fighting against the psychology of people you don't even know or what their issues are, their problems are. You're fighting against the psychology of FOMO. You're fighting against the psychology of things I can't even explain that AI is trying to catch for us. Right? So when I say to my own self, I'm not smarter than all that psychology combined. I'm just not. But I want to make sure that I'm on the right side when things happen like this, when the markets are moving like this. I want to make sure that I'm not on the wrong side of this. Because if I'm on the wrong side of this, I don't get to play tomorrow. I don't get to be in the market. There is no psychology for me in the market if I lose it all. And what we're seeing right now is we're seeing zero DTEs. We're seeing more of a gambling effect. The markets are not gambling. The markets were never designed to do this. The markets were designed to where the companies could go to the market to raise capital, and you can invest in companies that you like, companies that are moving the needle, or take your money out when you think that the market's done a good move. So I'm not trying to be hard on anybody here. I'm just trying to get everybody to understand that right now, the psychology, the understanding of the market right now is not to the upside. The adage that I like a lot is what is, when I'm looking at this market in a full picture, what is the path of least resistance? And it's not to the upside, or at least not to me. I don't think this market is the path of least resistance is the upside. Now, in '08, many companies and institutions were like, oh, the market's going fine. We're going to keep going higher. We're going to keep going higher. And everything's fine. The banks are fine. Everything's fine. Banks aren't fine, especially banks that are levered up with real estate, because they're about to come due. They're going to have to refinance trillions of dollars of real estate that they don't have. We're 1 minute away from the open, and I'll tell you, I'm looking at this market. I'm probably looking at one company right now, and that is AMD. So I'm maybe doing the same thing as I did yesterday. I may be looking at this as a short. So I'm keeping my eye here on it. I've got just about everything. This is the weekly chart. Look at that big old Harambe sitting up there. Kaboom. You see what happened last time that happened, right? Okay. So I don't like this up here. Is there some selling going to happen? I don't know yet. We'll definitely watch. Not sure yet. All right, we're open. So let's be careful. I'm going to pull the cues up here. I'm going to pull up the cues on a 1 second chart so we can keep our eye on the cues here. There we go. 611.10. We're open to the upside a little bit. 611.20. 611.42 here. $611.51. Now I'm keeping my eye here on the cues here. Okay, keep my eye on it. $611.72, $611.82, 233.14 now on AMD. So I'm going to pull up the AMD chart. This is the 1 second chart here on AMD. 233.79. I'm going to pull up the 3 minute chart now. There we go. Top of that linear regression. 233.89. 233.90. Now I'm about to go short here. 234.06. 234. Come on, baby. All right. And I'm now short AMD. Ooh. Okay. 233. I am short 233.70. 233.80. Okay. And 232.60 here. Keep my eye on it. Still not liking it yet. Still think we'll see some selling here. And took a profit there. You watch me do it again. I've done this over and over and over again. There it is, 232.43. You've watched me do this now over and over and over again. So I hope you guys got that. Did that live again. I think I'm now, I don't know, Howard usually keeps his eye on how many trades I win in a row. That was a good one, right? I went big, shorted it, and you can see why. I laid it out there for you. So I'm going to pull up the 1 minute chart. There it was. See, I knew that it was starting to bang in. There you go. And now we're starting to get into like a, there you go, 232, might go even further. Barbell linear regression on the 1 minute there could say again under 232, right? Looks like we're going to do that, try to do that again. I'm not showing this as positive today. I think there'll be some more profit taking here. There it is, starting coming down again. There, yeah, see, there you go. If you're following it, I mean, it's not hard, okay? And the narrative here is that AMD was too high. It pushed up over the last few days, and that is toppy, and they're profit taking in here. And it's not, it's the angle of this ascension is at the wrong angle for me. And you can see, I'm going to pull up a 1 hour chart for everybody. There you go. So it's in this strangle right here between 241 now and it's 229. So if we can break 229.63 to the downside, you could see even more sell. Now, this is a spinning top right there. See that right there? We're higher and low. So I think we might, I think right now it's telling me that we're going to go down even further. We might miss it here a little bit. Might have got out a little too early, but that's okay. I like to take my profit and run and enjoy that money. So I did that. You know, one stock that is interesting to me is when institutions want to take some hedge and they want to own stock and diversify a bit, is Berkshire Hathaway. All right, we all know that. Warren Buffett. We know Warren's leaving Anka Jane and team and are taking over. This is where you should start to see money starting to flow into, and you're not seeing that yet either. Under 500 is interesting because under 500 you usually see some buying. We're there now, so that's starting to interest me a little bit as money moves in here. All right, we probably need to keep our eye here on the Dixie as good, Marilyn, good. I love it. This is pushing, right? This is your weekly chart. Now, you saw Steve Flanagan talk about over the last few weeks that it was basing, that he liked it to the upside, and he was right. When we got to give him serious props here. Oh, there it is. For those of you who were watching and talking, I said it, we'd probably get right below the 232 handle. There it is. There it did. It did it. See? Why? Linear regression. Laid it up for you. So, yes, I got out a little too early. It's okay. Because I was pretty heavy. But that's what I mean. The narrative has to meet technical analysis. I want to line everything up before I go to war, right? If you're fighting the psychology of all these people, I want to have as much knowledge and as much arsenal that I have in order to be able to fight all that psychology. Look at that, below 232 again. And I think we go probably below 231.50 now. We talked about that 2 seconds ago. 231.50 is where I said we'd probably go to. And looks like we're going to hit it here. Now, I will say this much: the movement here in the stock is pretty high. I like high volume. Because that helps. There it is, boys and girls, 231.47. There it is. Went right to the lines. There was the buy signal for the super trend. So look at that. If you were in 231.50, it's probably right where. There you go. 232. You already have 50 cents in the money. So, if you're trading fast, this is how it's done, right? If you're trading longer term, I just showed you how it's done. So look at that. That's interesting right here. This thing is really getting interesting to me. AMD is. Could fall even further. All right, Marilyn, I know Ron's out there too. You guys any stocks you want to look at, let me know. I'm happy to show you charts. I'm happy to pull those up today as we are walking through this. We're looking like 231.24 now. Look at that. 231.15, 231 now. There it is. When I said it, if it breaks that line, then it's going to probably go on further. AMD now down almost 1% on the day. Oh, 230.24 now. Should probably keep our eye here again back on silver, as silver is trying to push back up. I mean, it has really been. I've not seen the metals markets. There's 51 again, right? That was back this morning in the overnight around 5:52. Got the 51, more dumping. Look at that, 51 to under 50. Like boom, that's serious dumping. So that's profit taking. That's institutional dumping. That's not retail dumping. That's not paper dumping, right? That's paper dumping. This is institutional dumping. People have been holding it like myself since 19. I'm not selling because my thesis is still the same. That I think that we are probably looking at a negative kind of world right now. All right, probably got to keep our eye also on Bitcoin. Is Bitcoin now pushing here as well? This money is flowing into Bitcoin. All right. Wow. Love all the numbers here. If you don't mind, hit that repost button, retweet us out there, send it out there to everybody. Give us some love. Hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to bring as much data and positivity to everybody. I know probably wouldn't feel positive today, but that's what's happening. I want to make sure that everybody is protected here. That's my job is to educate. Right. My job is to make sure that people understand the markets better than just what some Joe Schmo on has 1 billion followers is telling you. Right. I've been in both sides of this, and I know when the markets are moving in the right direction or when it's not. Been doing. You can't be as long as I have and be telling lies or whatever. Wow, I'm seeing a lot of shorts being loaded up here on the NASDAQ. It's kind of what I was thinking here. I'm seeing Twitter now. And I just said that, right? You need to make sure that the narratives line up. And I'm seeing shorts lining up now, to the negative side here. Yeah, we're starting to see now. Why? Why? Because we're out of the numbers now. We're out of linear regression. Look at that. I'm going to pull up a 1-hour chart, see where we are with this. Yeah, we're starting to kind of feel it now a little bit. Sell pressure coming in pretty heavy here on the Qs. Flip a 1-second chart. Look at that. It's kind of quiet. Volume is low. Okay, see those candles? Volume candles coming in is telling you which way the market's going. Now remember, we want to look at TD Cowen now raising Intel's price target to 35 from 20. They're a little bit behind since the price of Intel is already there. There you go. I'm keeping my eye on Solana. I did kind of want to buy Solana the other day. I didn't do it. This was what I was thinking here, that we'd turn around a little bit on Solana. I think it's a little undervalued right now. If you pull up a daily chart, this is why I felt like it was undervalued the other day. Could have been a bigger pullback, I think, but I think people still like Solana. I think it's very undervalued. It kind of reminds me of Ethereum back in the day. I might wait a little bit. For me, anything under 200 is a buy on Solana. So I'm kind of waiting for that pullback a little bit. And again, keeping our eye on silver. If the world's great, why is silver pushing up? Everybody's going to give me their reasons behind it. I understand. Probably go back to AMD. Look at that. This morning, if you were still short, you're probably a happier camper than I am because I went short. It was pretty obvious to me what was going on there. And where is that money flowing into? Apple. I'm keeping my eye here on AppLovin. We saw that there was some news out AppLovin that the government's going after it. The SEC is going after it. If it can hold down here and the news starts to abate a bit on AppLovin, it could turn around. Not yet. I still feel like there's still some selling in here. It's still the downside, but we got to create that narrative. But I do like what AppLovin is doing. I do. One stock has been beaten up quite heavily and it's starting to base a bit is Lululemon. You saw the CEO come out yesterday talking about the company. They're not happy with it. The narrative could be put around, are women still buying the clothes? Are they changing things, right? I know that we're talking about Warner Brothers right now on CNBC. We can keep our eye on Warner Brothers as it is moving around right now. I'll pull up a 1 second chart as it's on CNBC. I do think Warner Brothers does get bought out, though. And my narrative also has been on Netflix that I did like Netflix under 1,200. If you pull up a daily chart, I do like it under 1,000. That's where I think we're around 1080. For those of you who don't remember, I was buying it back during COVID pretty heavily, but excuse me, that you can see here that the narrative again, and we can talk about that, is the new movies coming out for Halloween was the story on Ed Gein, and you can see where it's been the #1 story, and people are signing up again for Netflix, and it's pushing, right? The narrative here, and also that it was undervalued again. So it seems to me that this was also another push up here, but I'm not buying because I don't like. I think it's a little heavy right now too as well. Another one that I thought was beaten up, and it's obviously the question mark around it here is whether or not they go into a strike. And the many executives on the other side of Boeing is saying that if you strike, it's great, but it's not great, but it's that we won't give you more money, and there it is, right? But they say they have trillions of dollars in backlog orders, and we know Boeing is too big to fail. I liked Boeing under 100, but again, there's too many numbers and too many question marks around Boeing right now for me to get back into Boeing. And if you know, Boeing was in my long-term portfolio, which I no longer have, in Boeing in that portfolio. So here we go. Bitcoin still having struggles up here. When I took a lot off at that 125 because I thought it was too high. No, all right, we'll keep our eye here a bit. All right, there you go. AMD still struggling all morning long. Keep our eye on the QQQ. Pull up a 5-second chart. I just don't like it up here. Apple's holding it up, obviously. Tesla is still slipping here this morning. Was up about $3. It's still slipping here. All right, 438.32 here on Tesla. I think we could go negative here on Tesla today. Let's pull up a 3-minute chart. Let's get that Wall Street numbers out there. Look at that. Yeah, we could go negative here today on Tesla. More selling picking up here. Bitcoin dropping too as well. Just dropped $400 here. Look at that selling. May go negative now. AMD, yep, AMD still selling here. Down 2% of the day. Bitcoin still selling here. Look at that selling there. On lower volume because the buying volume was way higher. So that means buyers are just sitting on the sidelines right now. Could be buy the dip here. I'm not really sure, but could be buying the dip here. I don't want to be picking up nickels in front of a steamroller. If you want to talk about adages, there's a good one for you. I'm not picking up any nickels right now. But the sell volume is slowing down on Bitcoin here a bit. Dollar still pushing here, 99.35 here. Could go to the 100 handle here very soon. Silver still holding here, the $50 handle here. That 3-minute chart, a 1-hour chart still showing me could test again. I mean, we had 4 tests of that 51. But we're still in an uptrend here. Netflix still pushing here a little bit. AMD started to bottom out a bit. You start to see a little bit of buyers here. Maybe the bottom is in, but I don't think so. The narrative still isn't showing that to me yet. And you got 5 heavy volume to the downside and one wick up. It just doesn't make sense to me right now yet. So let's keep our eye here. If it does bounce back, could bounce back 229, 230 here, somewhere around here. Yeah. And then probably start selling off again. But you can see where the buyers are starting to, the sellers have waned a little bit. They've slowed down, and the buyer, there he goes, 229 already. Yeah. But I'm not going to be buying any today. It's very weak. And really, we talked about this. I mean, the only thing, look at that, Bitcoin could be a pop here to the upside again if it holds. Here, I mean, on a fast 1 minute chart here. You got to see it bottoming out a little bit. Let's pull up that 3 minute chart. Wall Street, there it is. Yeah, this could be bottoming out here a little bit. That last bit of people thinking they're missing out on the sell here. Yeah, XAG, it's good old silver. There's under the 50 handle again. It's a major fight around $50. And we just talked about it. There's Bitcoin, 121.6 now. Let's see if it turns here. Still holding here. Here reports that Trump will be speaking today at 5 o'clock Eastern from the Oval Office, talking about lowering drug costs. So we'll pull up Pfizer, you can pull up Merck. They are struggling here. And drug costs are out of whack. This could be the end of the trading here as we hit the top of the hour very quickly here. Boy, that is a toppy chart on the daily chart. That is super toppy. Yeah. That's a weekly chart right there. There we go. Bitcoin, I think we just talked about it. There's 121.7 now. I think that was where I called it right there just a second ago. That might have been where the bottom was basing there. Could go back up and test that 122 handle again. AMD doing the same thing. This could be where the sellers just have now given up now as the buyers are, as the shorts are covering now. I don't know if there's buying, but it's definitely short covering here. All right, so I'm about to tick through. That should hit the algos pretty quickly. Two minutes down the top of the hour. All right, we're hearing reports from Canada's Prime Minister Carney that we're gonna. Yeah, I'll pull this up for everybody so you can see it. He said that could be a revised USMCA trade deal here. That's interesting. It means we're getting along. That could be a positive for the markets here. Yeah, there we go. See, 229.33. Had a feeling that was where the buyers were stepping in. Shorts were covering a little bit. 1 minute now, the top of the hour. Yeah, there we go. And I hope we learned something today here at the top of the hour. It's 10 o'clock. We're going to move into tomorrow. But everybody have a great weekend. I'll have some guests on a little bit later today. But I hope that you guys learned some things today from me as we begin to explain the markets as I see the markets right now. I think the markets are toppy. And I think that's where we're looking at. So looking at the daily chart, again, I think the market's toppy. And I have been struggling to move money around a little bit. I've been moving money into some REITs have been beaten up that are more real estate for retail. All right, my man. All right, everybody out there. We'll see you back here on Monday.